Igbo village. In that Igbo village, my good brother, what I want to do there is we'll create streets there. We'll create streets that will represent the names of the ancient Igbos. We'll create the streets that will bear the name of Sambakwe Street. That's the ex-governor of Imo State. We'll create a street that will bear the name of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of Nigeria. We'll create a street that will bear the name of Nzobo. We'll create a street that will bear, of course, the name of my father also, Zimaladi Hemetu. And all the great Igbo leaders that they have gone, and those are present. We create streets in their name that will represent them in Igbo village in Ghana. And this Igbo village in Ghana, every Igbo man all over the world have right to come there and buy property. Either you want a plot of land or 2 plots of land to build your dream house. We're also going to build tall buildings of maybe 6th floor or 7th floor. We'll sell them flat by flat, and we will have a single entrance in this Igbo village. When you come in there, you know you're coming into the Igbo village in Ghana. From there, Igbos will expand. We will build markets there. Igbo market will represent there. Igbo school will be built there. We will create transport section there also. We will create what we call easy.
Don't pay news yet, but it should be. Look, a man reportedly of Nigerian origins now carries the title Eze Idigan, which translates the king of the Igbo people. At first glance, this might seem ceremonial or community-based, a simple attempt by a diaspora group to stay connected to their heritage. But it goes deeper. This king was not installed through any Ghanaian traditional authority, nor under the constitutional oversight of the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. He was crowned by his own ethnic community, parallel structure operating independently within our country. That alone should raise eyebrows. But what really draws the conscience is a reported acquisition of land to establish an Igbo town or kingdom within Ghana's territory. Let's pause and think about that. This is not a cultural thing. It is not a diaspora event hall. This is a visioning and possibly the beginning self-identifying autonomous ethnic enclave within Ghana's soil, spearheaded by a non-indigenous leader crowned in a foreign tradition, accountable only to his people and existing outside the framework of Ghanaian customary law. If this doesn't ring the alarm bells, what will? We must be crystal clear on one point. Ghana is a sovereign nation. Our land is not a sandbox for foreign groups to test our political or cultural experiments. Our traditional chieftaincy system, from the Northern Kingdom to the Akanstous and the Gamaj, is steeped in centuries of lineage, blood, land struggles, and inherited responsibilities. One does not become a king in Ghana simply by gathering support from an ethnic minority population and declaring oneself sovereign. Yes, Ghana is renowned for her hospitality, and rightly so. We have opened our arms to refugees, migrants, investors, and travelers from across Africa and the world. But hospitality must never replace responsibility. Left unguarded, the same openness that makes Ghana peaceful can be exploited to create a parallel system of power that conflicts with. We have seen it before. Take Boko in the Upper East region, a cautionary tale written in blood. What started as a localized leadership disagreement between the Kusasi and the Mankusi communities gradually escalated into a deep-rooted ethnic conflict. Years of unresolved disputes over chieftaincy, unclear territory boundaries, persistent political interference turned once peaceful neighbor into rival, crippling social cohesion and paralyzing local economic activity. Why did Boko happen, my people? Because clear lines of authority were blurred and the state hesitated to act swiftly and fairly. It is a stark reminder that once tribal loyalty competes with national loyalty in the public square, peace becomes fragile. Imagine then what could happen if multiple ethnic groups in Ghana, many of whom have significant numbers, begin to crown their own kings, build their own towns, and subtly detach from the unified national. It starts with a title, then a palace, then a local council. Before long, you are looking at ethnic federalism disguised as multiculturalism. And the tragic irony, it won't be foreigners who suffer when this unravels. It will be Ghanaians. It will be the indigenous custodians of the land who will wake up one day to find themselves negotiating power with a parallel authority they never consented to. Let me be clear, Ghana is not anti-immigrant. This is not about xenophobia. This is about preserving our national identity and protecting sovereign institutions. See, hospitality is not the absence of boundaries. A peaceful society must be guided by clear, respected lines of identity, power, and authority. Our kindness as Ghanaians should never be mistaken for weakness. Boundaries, cultural, legal, and territorial are not barriers to peace. They are the framework that makes peace possible in the first place. What we are witnessing is not a one-off occurrence. It's a slow repetition of history. And history, when ignored, always returns with sharper consequences. Let me take you north to Ghana's Zabzugu, Popongunu, Boko, and parts of Wa, where entire communities have grappled with a troubling reality. Indigenous groups enslaved on their own ancestral land. Sounds exaggerated? Sadly, it's not. Many of these tensions began decades ago when migrants from neighboring countries or ethnic groups were welcomed into local communities to trade, farm, or settle temporarily. As time passed, their numbers grew. Then came wealth, land acquisition, and social influence. And slowly, the traditional power dynamics shifted. In some areas, these settler groups began installing their own leaders or contesting local chieftaincy, not as subjects of the land, but as rival authorities. Soon enough, these rivalries spiraled into ethnic violence, land conflicts, and generational distrust. The original spirit of hospitality, warm, gorgeous, and peace-loving, was weaponized against the very host who extended it. Look again at Boko, where settlers became power brokers. Now, you have a town where children are born to fear. Commerce collapsed overnight. Schools shut down. Entire communities live uncared for. What? Because we failed to enforce integration with respect, not dominance. And this isn't just a northern Ghana issue. In the greater Accra region, areas like Ashama, Medina, Kaswa, and parts of Tema have become hotbeds of simmering tension. Why? Because unregulated migration, poor urban planning, and political appeasement have allowed foreign populations to create enclaves where Ghanaians' laws are weakly respected and traditional leadership is completely ignored. So again, this Igbo Kingdom conversation isn't about paranoia. It's about patterns. Once a group becomes large, wealthy, and organized enough, they begin to ask for recognition. Not necessarily in a hostile way, but recognition comes with power. And once you start negotiating power outside Ghana's governance and chieftaincy system, you are slowly building a state within a state. Let me ask you plainly, if we allow a non-indigenous king to preside over a town in Ghana, whose laws will govern that town? Whose culture would shape the schools, the courts, and the markets? Will disputes between locals and that community be handled by our chiefs and local assemblies or by their council of elders? We already have examples of Lebanese communities in Ghana seeking to build exclusive gated areas. Reports have surfaced over the years of some Chinese-owned mining towns having their own informal security forces and rules, openly flouting Ghanaian environmental land and labor laws. So it begs the question, how long before these seemingly isolated incidents become systemic? How long before a Ghanaian child is made to feel like foreigner in their own country? When you do not define your space, others will define it for you. And you may find yourself asking permission on your land, the same land your ancestors died for. Our nation must not wait for a cultural or security emergency. Prevention is better than protest. Dialogue is better than damage control. Let's bring it to home now. Ghana has been called many things: the gateway to Africa, the black star to the continent, the land of peace and political maturity. And all of that is true, but none of it is automatic. Peace isn't the default. Stability isn't permanent. Nationhood isn't static. It's built brick by brick, choice by choice, and defended by generations who understand what's at stake. When our forefathers fought the colonial powers, from the Ashanti Wars to the Bond of 1844, from the rise of Yasantua to the diplomacy of Kwame, they weren't fighting for economic deals or foreign investments. They were fighting for sovereignty, the right to govern ourselves, to name our kings, to define our boundaries, to be Ghanaians. So when we now sit in silence as foreign titles are installed on Ghanaian land, we are not just being hospitable. We are slowly surrendering the very things our ancestors died. And let's be honest, some of the blame falls on our own shoulders. Successive governments have ignored the slow erosion of our national pride in exchange for short-term optics, photo ops, campaign support, foreign aid. We have watched politicians cozy up with foreign groups for votes while turning a blind eye to the long-term implications. We have seen land sold carelessly without national land policy enforcement. And now, entire communities feel alienated on land that once belonged to sisters. And it's not just about the state. We the people must rise beyond tribal, political or ethnic lines and ask the hard question, what does it mean to be Ghanaian? Because once a nation loses its identity, it becomes vulnerable to cultural colonization. Not the kind with ships and rifles, but with money, manipulations, and mass multitude. And let me be clear again, this is not an attack on Nigerians or any foreign nation. Nigeria remains one of Ghana's strongest trade partners. And many Nigerians have lived here peacefully, respectful, and with a deep love. But leadership matters. And when the leader attempts to crown himself king within a host country, it transcends brotherhood. It becomes a political statement. And that cannot be left unanswered. So let's flip the question. Can a Ghanaian go to Lagos or Abuja, crown himself king of Ghanaians in Nigeria, acquire land and declare that he's building a Ghanaian kingdom? Would that be accepted? The answer is a resounding no. Not because Nigerians are unfriendly, but because they understand the sacredness of sovereignty. We must do the same. National identity is not inherited, it is protected. If you don't guard it with vigilance, you will wake up one day and realize it has been leased, sold, or replaced. Ghana is a hospitable land, yes, but she must also be guarded where our kindness does not become a loophole for exploitation. In light of recent developments that test the limits of Ghana's hospitality and the strength of its sovereign identity, it has become crucial for national leaders to take decisive, forward-thinking action. These issues are not merely symbolic. They strike at the heart of governance, community cohesion, and national unity. If Ghana is to remain a stable, welcoming, and self-determined state, then a few targeted reforms must be urgently considered. Ghana's immigration service must not evolve from being a checkpoint operation to becoming a robust oversight institution. Immigration should not begin and end at the country's borders. The service must work closely with local governments and community leaders to proactively monitor the activities of foreign groups, particularly when these activities shift from mere residency into the realm of governance or unauthorized leadership structures. A system of periodic reviews, community engagement, and transparent reporting will prevent the slow erosion of Ghanaian authority in local spaces. Second, there must be a clear regulatory framework concerning the conferment of royal or traditional titles on non-indigenous persons. I believe the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs must officially state that no foreign ethnic group is permitted to establish traditional leadership or pseudo royalty within Ghana's territory within states' consultation over. Such titles, if granted for cultural cohesion or ceremonial purposes, must be thoroughly vetted, legally registered, and gazetted within the national legal structure. Our traditional leaders, who are often custodians of the land, must be educated on the implications of unregulated land sales. Land is more than property. It is heritage, security, and sovereignty. Another long-term safeguard lies in strengthening civic and national education. We must instill in every Ghanaian, from the classroom to the community, a deep sense of national identity, cultural respect. Young people must understand that being Ghanaian transcends birthright. It is about embracing shared values, respecting the structures that hold our diverse nation, and protecting the symbols that give Ghana its distinctive character. National identity must never be negotiable. Furthermore, our political class must decouple governance from ethnic or foreign group patronage. It is short-sighted and dangerous to politicize relationships with foreign communities in pursuit of votes, diaspora funding, or temporal popularity. State-to-state diplomacy must always remain the standard, and any engagement with ethnic or cultural groups must be handled with transparency and caution. Let us write one national story together, not separate chapters that divide rather than unite. Ghana stands today because men and women refuse to look away when something felt wrong. You and I must carry the same torch. Let no king rise where no kingdom was given. Let no throne be built on land that was never of We are the descendants of warriors, visionaries, builders. Let us now be the guardians of Ghana. God bless our homeland. Until I come your way again, peace and remain blessed.